Have you guys seen this latest video that has just dropped by Steel Liger Games? Well, actually by the CEO of Studio Game. He's the one who's done this. Let's just pause it for now, because we're going to see a lot of exciting units and a lot of good stuff from here that's basically about the future DLC. But we're just going to, and the new hangar, of course, that's a really cool new view. But what I'd like to do is talk about it, because it's 35 minutes and 39 of Russian, which is fine if you speak Russian, but if you don't, that's a long time to read auto captions and translations. Probably not a good idea. So what I'm going to do for you guys is mute them, just because that'll be a bit distracting. And we're essentially just going to have a look at the key sort of things that he talks about. I'm going to do a summary. Hopefully we'll get it in under 10 minutes of a 35-minute video for you guys. So it starts off looking about the Baltic units, which is actually something that's really cool. So we see the Rosgvardia here. We see basically more MLRSs. That's basically a mini Smirch. I love that thing. It looks like, hold on, I'm gonna have to slow it down. We'll switch the subtitles off, but let's keep them on. You might like them. Sergei Kuzmin is the founder of Steel Balalaika. So these guys have been together since playing Wargame Red Dragon, just as actual players. Competitive team, doing quite well, I heard. So yeah, let's talk about the units. This is more MLRS, which is great. Here's a mini Smirch that we talked about, and this is, like I say, the Ferrari of the armored personnel carrier sort of world. I really love how this looks, and I can't wait to play it for whenever the DLC drops. Clearly, all the units are already in the game, ready to go. So we've known that for a while. They're just trying to finalize. Here's a little basically another Dune buggy, just like the one that's already, just like the Selmat already in the game. This one's the Cherbourg. So yeah, sounds like Cherbourg in France. Here's him showing his old videos on his old Wargame channel, which is really cool to see. Actually, let's see how many views he's getting. Okay, like about 2,000-ish, 3,000 and some. Really good stuff. Oh, Broken Arrow, that's where it's first mentioned. And we can see that 7th of Janvier, which is January 2019. Pretty cool. Yeah, so here he is just talking about his old sort of glory days with his boys, just playing the game. Whilst we're doing that, sorry, I forgot to mention that's obviously a T62, T72A, and the Gaz Tiger. So basically just like the Russian Humvee. More MLRS. This is a cool helicopter, and the K50. So the 52 is already in the game. This is the K50. As you can see, it's got Russian sidewinders, so R73s on it, which is pretty damn cool. It looks fantastic. I mean, this in itself could be a trailer for the game. Hold on. Red arrows? No, it's the Yak 130. This helicopter is just cool. Well, I don't know how it's going to work. I think the price is similar to a Little Bird, or that's the sort of functionality of it. But we'll have to wait and see about that, because obviously they're trying to stray away from having identical units. Now, the difference between the K50 and 52 is just 2 pilots. So this was a prototype of 1 pilot. We were trying to make more digital systems so to replace the co-pilot, but they figured that that wasn't enough. It's just not enough men doing too many jobs to fly and be the gunner. So even with all the automation, they decided to put 2 pilots in, hence we got the K52. Right, obviously an MI8, but an upgrade. So what iteration of it? Obviously it looks like it's got better sensors, extra bit of armor plating, and I do not know what that is. Please do let me know in the comments below. Is it just like an extra set of 30mm autocannons, just like the gun pods we get? But obviously here it's 1 or 3. Not sure, but that's looking pretty cool. Obviously, you see it's got 4 Iglas on this side. Can't quite make out the other side, and rocket pods too. So this has got 4 R73s, S13 missiles, and that the other missile I can't remember. But basically, this can obviously do quite a lot of damage to vehicles, so quite potent. Right, this is the big one. This is a stealth drone. For Russia. I know Russia players rejoice. Now, whether it's going to have as high stealth capability as the Sentinel is very, very unclear, but it's beautiful to see all these units. Oh, wow, this is cool. Just a ship sailing in the background, as you do. But what this is meant to be more like an attack drone, like a independent sort of plane, as opposed to Sentinel, which is just a drone, just a recon drone. This, I think, is going to have quite a lot more weapons on it. So exciting to see that in game. MiG-31, of course. Yeah, he's just talking about himself and the history. So if you want to see that, then by all means watch the full video. I'll link it in the channel. Tu-95, the Russian bear bomber with four 9,000 kilo bombs. Those are absolutely huge. They can do a lot of damage. I think this is like meant to be set in St. Petersburg or something like that. Here we see another MiG-31, this time in a really cool paint scheme. Love to see it, but here we have a Kindral missile. Now this is going to be a nuke. I think it's already been leaked and confirmed. So very, very exciting stuff already. Yeah, talking about how they got in touch with the publisher. This is the drone, the Eurogun. As we can see, it's got some missiles that deploy in it already. And okay, the rest of it, I think that's it for the unit leaks. Okay, so the rest of it's not interesting. Essentially because he's just showing himself play the game. As you can see, there he is in there with his other dev friends playing the game. Now, from talking about those units, well, he doesn't actually mention those units at all. They're just sort of background eye candy, which is interesting. But yeah, what is interesting to note is that he moves on to talking about, from the background, a shift in game philosophy. So they talk about how essentially a lot of the stuff that we covered in the interview, which I thought was really interesting, by the way, and I hope you've watched that video as well. I'll link it in the comments in the description below. Essentially, we've gone from talking about the game being a sort of softer, more easy to play, more welcoming approach. That's the sort of language used, to changing it to being essentially a lot more good bombs there. Didn't really kill much, but good bombs. To a lot more competitive, lethal, and interesting. I mean, you get rewarded for good tactical decisions and punished for bad ones, and I think that's absolutely spot on. We're looking here. He's actually showing us footage of how badly the AA is working. They do take that there's yes, they do take the good time to switch the captions back on because they acknowledge the problems. They know they're going to be working on them, and all that is, in the pipeline. It will be fixed eventually. It's all just a matter of time. So either way, there's definitely a lot of hope for us, which is the great thing. From talking about, this is something that he mentioned in an interview. From talking about, making a good balance between good for new players and good for competitive play. That's where we're at. So the game is too forgiving at the minute. However, the increased lethality does not mean that it's going to turn into um, a hardcore version. And he obviously, quite a lot of the time, he talks about how much he hates that expression hardcore because it's not exactly exactly the thing that they're going for. Should have used the MLRS on that on those two airborne squads there, but it looks like he's going to fuck them up anyway. Happy days. Now, with the roadmap, there are three. Actually, let me talk about the future right here. So beautiful T80 in the back. How did he get it so deep? Woof. Uh, how do you get a T80 so deep? The rest of it is just battle footage all across here. It's just to show that this is all the closed PTE stuff, by the way, that they're showing you here, which is really interesting. So with increased lethality, predictability, and tactical depth, the game is going to be geared to be more competitive and more skill-based, which, again, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. The game should be skill-based and should be rewarding if you can be a good, skillful player. And, okay, right, actually, in this section, this section of video is actually quite important. It's just showing you how ridiculous some lethality mechanics are. When an attacker ATGM doesn't one-shot a pack, when pilots survive. Yeah, look, a pilot does manage to kill one of these June buggies, even though it's shooting at the pilot with minigun. It is a ridiculous part of the game. So yeah, the lemurs not killing those pilots is also super ridiculous. Like they should be just, a squad of pilots should be decimated by stuff. So that's why he stuck that bit in. Apart from that, it is just all battle footage that's been sped up for some reason here. Now, like I say, increased lethality and increase in skill is good. Now, this is going to mean that, we all probably will feel a bit of a shock when it comes to the PT coming up. The PT is confirmed, by the way. That is something that's also really big news. The PT is confirmed, and they've confirmed that they're always going to be doing PTE before any release. So public testing before any release. They want to get feedback. They want to know if the features that they want to put in are actually worth putting in, which is something that's obviously very reasonable, very rational. It's the right thing to do. So they have confirmed that. And that's really, really exciting. The next thing they go on to talk about is essentially with the DLC approach that they're going to actually split it into, units. They're going to split it into maps and scenarios. So the DLC being split is obviously diverting from, traditional RTS stuff. And I'm actually just quite excited to see how it goes because, in all fairness, if you're not a single player person, why should you buy all the single player side of the DLC? And on the opposite, if you never play multiplayer, well, I guess you still want to use the Roscovardia, but if they're not in the scenario, then you can't use them anyway. So yeah, why are they in the game there? You might have noticed as well, the Terminator was actually 150 points. It's currently 160 in the game. So yeah, really, really exciting. In August, yeah, confirmation that the DLC will fall now. That's really good. He also talks about, obviously, you know, the game is in a lot of technical debt, and they've acknowledged this for a very, very long time that the game is in a bad state, and all they can say is that they're trying their best to fix it. I don't think it gets much fairer than that. Oh, he's deploying the Mighty Berrig, all praise. Great, great unit. Look, they know that from the start, the game was built by 4 people. They were just in a big rush to make it work, to have all the shiny units, to have all the sort of, playability. Fixing the bugs and the essential sort of stuff to make a game actually, enjoyable, the technical stuff, has been, without a shadow of doubt, a sort of second priority for them. And they're not hiding from this sort of fact. They've acknowledged this before, and he's acknowledging it again. So fair play, very valid argument to be made. And essentially, yeah, they acknowledge that these are the problems, but what they also acknowledge is the fact that they are working on it. The more money they get, the richer they are as a business, the more talented people they can hire to fix those core issues. Now, again, little breaking news from me that you might not have seen in this video. He doesn't really talk about it, but it is confirmed that we're going to get replay mode and save games in autumn. So obviously another 3 months of waiting to go for sure. But it's autumn is round the corner, and that is actually really exciting in my opinion. Oh, go on. That is an interesting battle how that's developed here. Clearly, he's a good tactical player. Raekwon is a good player too, so he's doing well here. But essentially, yeah, they are getting those issues fixed. And like I say, the timeline of autumn for what is, I'm not 100% sure on the technical side of things, but for what is a potentially a huge problem, these technical issues are really hard to solve. I think when you have to especially backdate them and go back through the old broken code to try and fix it and make the code good, that's a major challenge. And getting it done by sort of, in within the next 3 months. I'm sure they've been working on it much longer, but that's actually quite a good accomplishment. In other news, essentially, oh, here we go. This is where it's just pure battles because content 18 plus. There's a lot of swearing in here, as the Russians are passionate. Is a nice way to put it. So yeah, that's basically, I think, a really good summary of what is to come. Obviously, again, you can watch the full video with subtitles if you wish. It is quite long, but only the first 8 minutes are worth really paying attention to. Oh, Russian mirror match, disgusting. I hate mirror matches. Um, but yeah, if you have any questions or want me to try and clarify some points, obviously I don't speak on behalf of Slytherin or STB, but I've got some good knowledge and potentially some insider knowledge that I might be able to answer with you. So yeah, please do ask questions in the comments below. This video is doing fantastic. Well, it's only been released today. It's already on basically 5K views. There's lag on this number to catch up. So anyway, that is it. I hope you've enjoyed the quick summary and translation. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Bye bye.